7th of October, nearly said that, 7th of February 26. Meeting in Oman. Trump talks with butchers. The death toll in Iran is around 100,000 now, but an American president decides to talk about nuclear weapons and uranium and sanctions. Nonsense, of course, just blah blah. Betrayal of the Persians, the Israelis, the Kurds, the Armenians and the Aramaic people, and actually everybody, and of especially women and children in the Middle East. And of course his voters. Trump, fuck off. It's early enough. That's not how you do politics. But what does Iran do now? Except laughing. I mean, not the people, but the Ayatollahs. After the negotiation talks in Oman, they changed from one butchering country to Oman, so Turkey's genocide country. The Iranian foreign minister Arakchi, however you pronounce it, arrived in Doha. Brothers in crime, the main financiers of international terror and Islamization in the world. Also, for example, replacement migration from Turkey, Europe, US, and so forth. And Iran especially is into financing, arming, and training terror organizations, even ISIS-K, who infiltrate Russia. But Russia supports them. So, I mean, it's not unexpected for me, I have to say, because when you say you help somebody who is butchered by dictatorship, people who are butchered by the dictatorship, then you have to send help immediately. And not after a month. Right. So he was a liar. This is a betrayal. Or like Lindsey Graham said, you can't talk like Reagan and act like Obama. But Obama was a great terror supporter. So, at the same time, Miss Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner met in Oman so it's nice, right? These two met directly with the Iranian foreign minister during the talks in Oman. And now we come to the next betrayal. Donald Trump is a Donald Duck. I never liked his comics, by the way. It was too stupid for me, even as a small child. and Trump acts his appearance. So Netanyahu meets Donald Trump before the Board of Peace meetings. This Board of Peace is a betrayal on the Israelis, a humiliation. I've spoken about the international law Utis Possidetis Juris for several times already. The expert is Natasha Hausdorff, with 2F at the end. She's a British attorney specialized in international law. She gave many interviews about exactly this law. And according to Utis Possidetis Juris, Gaza, Samaria, and Judea are only Israeli territory and Israeli responsibility. Israel Channel, I think 24, reported now several times that the UAE will take over the management of Gaza. I will talk about that later. But about this Board of Peace, it seems that Israel is not invited to the full Board of Peace leaders meeting that concerns only the Israelis. And it's about Israeli territory. And And you tell me Donald Trump is an ally of Israel? No, definitely not. This is the news for this new week, Shavuot Tov. I talk now a bit about the UAE. All these people who, interestingly enough, only men who live in the UAE, I mean Arab Muslims, are actually just advocates for this regime. But they never tell you the truth. And part of it is also, by the way, what's his name? Loa al-Sharif. But he's actually not. He's not Emirati. His parents are Egyptian, and he grew up in Bahrain. He will speak now also in the UN about Muslim-Jewish relations. They didn't invite somebody Jewish on that, by the way. Yeah? And the Abraham Accords. He's the one who gives you lectures about that the Palestinians don't want to, or Hamas, where is it a bit, next to Israelis, but want to establish a caliphate. He doesn't tell you that all Islamic countries want to establish a world caliphate, also the UAE. He also won't tell you, like I told you, also in the last videos, that the Arab League invented the terror project Palestine in the summit in August 1960. And of course the UAE leadership knows that. They only support the terrorists, also in the UN meetings. They always advocate for a Palestinian state. They know quite well that this is a terror project to eliminate and destroy Israel and to commit genocides on all Israelis. People from the Emirates won't tell you that. They also don't tell you that the whole media is full of jihad propaganda. And 23 or 24, I have to check it. I will, if I find the video on Rumble, I will post a link. I made a whole video I just read from official UAE governmental websites. Only jihad propaganda. December 23, and I found it by accident because they were so proud of it. It was in the rubric Great Achievements in Dubai. Of 23, one of the great achievements was an exhibition on Gaza after the massacres of 7th of October. They used terror symbols. The watermelon is a symbol of terrorism and genocide on Israelis. The Palestinian flag, I come from Austria, the Palestinian flag has been forbidden for years already because it's a terror symbol. And if Austrian government understands that, then of course also the UAE understands that. Yes. You can fool somebody else, you can fool your idiotic population, but you can't fool other people. In every UN session, they support Palestine, fully knowing that this is a terror project to eliminate Israel. They sit with terrorists in the Arab League. After 7th of October, they sent aid to the terrorists in Gaza and then also to Hezbollah. They never even sent a sock to the victims of terror. This is when you sign peace treaties with Muslims. Same with Egypt and the same as Jordan. They have Israel has peace treaties with these people. You don't notice, right? Nobody noticed it. This is the fact. And these people, terror supporters with a jihad ideology, shall send forces I mean, I guess they're armed, otherwise it wouldn't make sense, yeah, on Israeli territory. Who, exactly, people with a jihad mindset that supports the elimination of Israel. Great PR, right? About Jordan and Jordan, the Queen of Jordan has praised terrorists who committed the crimes, the massacres of October 7th in the Jordanian TV, and the great King of Jordan threatened Israel with a full-out war. I mean, not that Jordan ever has won against Israel, but never mind. Yeah. A guy who destroyed a stable country with Islamism. Egypt is not better. Listen to Dalia Ziada, I don't want to talk too long. And then Mossab Hassan Youssef spoke, he posted it on his Twitter account. He equaled pro-Palestinians with Persians who want Reza Pahlavi back. Does it sound to you like he's an expert on the Middle East? He linked people who are pro-jihad and genocide with people who are against jihad and genocide. Persians on Twitter answered him, I think you never left Hamas. Never. Doesn't sound like that. But why do I talk about them also? And this Ulu al-Sharif, how they all called. He will talk in the UN now about Muslim-Jewish relations and the Abraham Accords. They are not kept by anybody, except Israel, of course. Yeah? Israelis keep the peace treaties, but it's just one-sided. I have the feeling, and it's just a gut feeling, that all these people from the Middle East, and they're all men also, and they all earn money by it, do that deliberately. They don't tell you the truth. And it's why, if they don't know, I mean, okay, this is also a Muslim mindset. We know everything better, even they don't even have any education about it. This week I saw on Twitter that somebody posted it, that a Saudi Arabian newspaper posted that I studied Semitic linguistics, and the people are so stupid. Sometimes it's really hard to stomach for me. I mean, I have no patience for stupidity and big-mouthed fool idiots. Okay, I calm down, because this is exactly my expertise. So this Saudi newspaper posted the claim that Hebrew developed from Arabic. They don't even know what Arabic is, and they don't even know what Hebrew is, right? I mean, they speak Arabic, but it doesn't mean they know anything. And then people started. They just ignore me because I give them scientific treatises on the different languages, and I mean, what they try to do is, of course, clear. They want to prove that Hebrew didn't exist, but it developed from Arabic. That means Arabs are native there. The problem is only that there is no archaeological proof for that. You only find Hebrew inscriptions. It's like this weirdo guy from Jordan who started a full-out argument with me because he claimed that the Jordanian, the kingdom of Jordan is a descendant of the kingdom of the Nabateans. Never in history existed a kingdom of the Nabateans, but it doesn't matter. And then he started to fight with me. And they are not even intelligent enough to stop when I tell them, listen, I studied that. It never existed. And there were a handful of Arabs called Nabateans who lived among Canaanite people. This is maybe what I will use as a thumbnail, the map that you see. These were in antiquity, these were all Canaanite nations or kingdoms that existed. And then you also see that there were no Arabs among them. Exactly. Right. So, but I have the feeling that these people do it in fact on purpose. Also, Loa al-Sharif and how they are called. And of course they ignore me on purpose. But sometimes I notice that they read it or they listen to my videos, because I said in one of my videos, okay, it was a bit harsh, that the group states are camel fuckers with oil money. I mean, of course, I met once a nice camel in Dubai, and camels are a bit too big for that. Okay, but I just wanted to state the cultural development. And then this guy posted, "This is not true. Our wealth comes not from oil, but from work." Then they don't know their own history. When Sheikh Zayed, he was the Emir of Abu Dhabi and the founder of the United Arab Emirates, sorry, when he was still alive, he had a very nice website, and there was also his personal history, his poetry, but also the history of the UAE. And before oil was found, there was nothing. The people lived in tents and lived from pearl diving. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. And then the oil was found, and then the development began. Exactly, and this is, by the way, very interesting. The website of Sheikh Zayed was incredibly interesting to read. But they are rich because of oil. I mean, of course, they invested it in an intelligent way, because as far as I know, Dubai doesn't have oil anymore. But in the time when the big money rolled in, they invested it in a smart way, in new technology and new business, so they won't be impoverished. But Qatar still has oil. Right. And you also don't get so insanely rich by work. People in the Gulf states, I tell you now, I'm from Europe. You don't get that rich from oil, from work. You get that rich only from oil or organized crime. So sometimes, obviously, they listen to my videos. So, I think that's that. Let's keep updated. If you know, don't talk about the Epstein files, because first of all, they are not fully investigated yet. So not everyone who's mentioned is also a criminal. But the only thing I find quite astonishing is, there are two things I find astonishing. First, why they are published now. Epstein was arrested several years ago. Can't remember anymore when exactly, and then he committed suicide in prison, and that leads me to the second point that I find quite astonishing, is that nobody mentions now. Back then, when he was arrested, it was published, is the fact that he was a CIA agent. Everyone writes in a way that if he acted of his own accord. But that seems very unlikely. First of all, it looks as a very organized crime, and data collection to compromise people one day in the future. Why should a private person do that? Even if it's a perverted pedophile, right? And a criminal. But he worked for the CIA. Are we not allowed to say that? Is it forbidden to say that? Because this is actually the really terrible thing about it. And for me, it looks a bit linked to this MK Ultra program the CIA had. That also was linked. That was also a method with. It was about mind control. They directly hailed for these terrible experiments with children, also raping children. Directly pseudo-scientists from the concentration camps, from the Nazis. These Nazi criminals did then the same things for the CIA in the US. And if you know these things, then I see it wouldn't be the first time that the CIA is linked to child rape and pedophiles, and it's just a new version that they used it for data collection. I mean, I don't know, but it's not mentioned anywhere. Nobody mentions that he worked for the CIA. So this is the main astonishing thing about it. I just say, what people will make out of it is, I can't predict. Maybe I'm also killed for that. I don't know. Maybe we are not allowed to say it, and then the CIA says we remove this weirdo redhead. But just saying. I mean, actually nobody likes me. The jihadists don't like me, the Muslims don't like me, the left wing don't like me, maybe the CIA also doesn't like me. So, bye, have a nice day.